The weather. Oh, look, Uma is outside. It's raining. It's snowing. The sun is shining. The weather can be quite different. But what is weather, and where does it come from anyways? Weather is created when the sun, water, and air work together. Since the Earth is round, the sun's rays strike the Earth differently in different places. When the sun warms the Earth, water evaporates, or in other words, turns into vapor, which is gas in the air. The warm air rises with the water vapor, but once it reaches a certain height, it cools again, and clouds are formed from tiny water droplets. If there are many clouds in the sky, they stop the sun's rays and the air gets colder. If there are few clouds in the sky, the sun's rays can shine straight down to the Earth. This makes it warmer, and the temperature rises again. The weather can be measured and described using traits. One trait to describe weather is temperature. But what kind of device can measure temperature? Temperature can be measured using a thermometer. In the United States, we measure temperature using Fahrenheit, which is represented with this symbol. For example, when it is snowing, the temperature is very low. And when it is warm, the temperature is very high. Another trait to describe weather is humidity, which is when the water vapor stays in the air. It's hard to see humidity, so we use a device called a hygrometer. Have you ever drawn something on a window that's fogged up? When windows are fogged up, the humidity in that place is high. If the evaporated water rises, the air becomes colder again and tiny droplets of water form. When that happens, clouds are created, like the cirrus clouds, which look kind of like feathers. These are cumulus clouds. They usually mean sun and good weather. Have you ever seen clouds like this before? These are called cirrocumulus clouds. They stack up high and look very fluffy. But they usually mean a storm is coming. Watch the clouds today and tell us in the comments what you saw. Water could come back to Earth from the clouds. Do you know what it's called when water falls out from the clouds? Rain. Snow and hail are also kinds of water that fall from clouds. The technical term for this is called precipitation. When it rains, we use a tool called a rain gauge to measure the water. Another trait is air pressure. It is always there, but most of the time you can't feel it. Have you ever had your ears pop in an airplane or going up a steep hill? That's from the air pressure. We measure air pressure with a tool called the barometer. When the air pressure is low, it is usually rainy and cloudy. When the air pressure is high, the weather is dry. But one trait is still missing: the wind. Wind is moving air. We often feel this outside. There are different wind speeds. When the wind is 0 miles per hour, there is no wind. And with a wind speed of 75 miles per hour, you have a hurricane, which is strong enough to uproot a whole tree. There are many weather stations in the world constantly measuring the elements of weather to keep us safe, which helps us to predict the weather. Weather stations measure temperature, humidity, precipitation, air pressure, and wind. Today, we learned all about the weather. We learned about tools to measure the weather and different traits. And Uma? Her favorite weather seems to be summer.